Episode 213 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded December 12th, 2018. Closing time. Folks, we are nearing the end of the year.
Yep.
And we realized that we have a bunch of shows that we still wanted to just check back in on. I'm trying to find a cohesive theme in the title for that. Wasn't really happening. So we're like, it's closing time. We're about to close out 2018. We got one more episode after this where we're going to be doing our best of. But we have a few shows that we wanted to hit upon.
Yeah.
And those shows include The Good Place, because holy fuck, Kyle, can you believe it?
Oh my gosh, I'm killing myself right now.
I can't believe you didn't see this most recent episode.
I snoozed. I haven't seen it yet.
We're going to be talking about the Janet episode.
Yes.
I will be leaving the room.
Yes, you losed now.
Oh no, is that an inside joke from the episode?
You won't know.
No.
The Marvelous Miss Maisel is back for season 2 over on Amazon, and Star Trek Shorts. They've put out an additional 2 since the first one we discussed a couple months back ago, I guess. And then Counterpart season 2 over on Stars has returned for its first episode. So we're going to talk about that.
By the way, putting out shows this late in the year really fucks up my end of year stuff.
Seriously, I think Friday Netflix is releasing the next season of Travelers.
Yeah.
And they're killing me. I know I'm going to be really excited about it. It's going to be great, and there's no chance of it making it anywhere close to a year-end list.
So as the official list maker end of year guy, this is the thing I do. I'm going to say anything produced after, say, like December 15th counts as 2019.
Yep.
Because Travelers is basically, for all intents and purposes, that's a 2019 show. Most of it would have aired, if it aired like a regular show.
You're just saying that because they're from the future.
Yes, exactly. I said this in comics, too. I was talking with the guys in the comics podcast, and they're like, there's 2 more weeks. We can't come do best of. And I'm like, we have to. That's when we record. We don't have time.
Yeah, we'll get into this, though, next week, but I really do feel like there ought to be an August cutoff for like a fiscal year.
Well, that's how the Emmys.
Here's a review year. The calendar says, review year ends.
Well, that's how the Emmys do it, and I hate that shit.
Do you think if you're making a TV show and you're like, oh shit, this is going to be one of the best things done all year, I should release it the last week of the year?
Nobody would do that. That's crazy.
Yeah. No,
you release the first week of the new year, you're like, beat that, motherfuckers.
Yeah, set the bar.
But then they do that, and it's like, how well do I remember the end of the fucking world? I'm pretty sure it was good, but I don't think a lot of people will remember a show like that.
I end up giving we'll talk about all this next week. I end up giving crazy weight to stuff I still remember from January, frankly. If that show still stuck with me and I go, son of a bitch, that aired January 3rd.
And I still like it.
And I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
We had an Olympics since then.
Wow.
Shit.
Black Panther came out this year.
The stuff that happened this year. This has been a long decade.
It's been a year.
Yep. Sorry. I was going to tangent again. No more tangents.
Folks, we are the TV Dudes. I'm Grant.
I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And you know what? Before we get into it, quick plugs. iTunes. Go there and give us a 5-star rating, write a little review. We appreciate those. They help us out. If you're listening to this on something else like Google Play or Stitcher, you can put little reviews on there too. You can
Shout out YouTube.
Yeah, you can share our posts as well if there's a particular episode that, tickles your fancy.
Or if this is coming out the sound of somebody's car window that's rolled down, just yell in and go, oh yeah, that's a good podcast.
Hey,
what is it?
You in the car next to us. You should listen to this.
Let the TV Dudes. Find us on iTunes and Stitcher.
Just renegade guerrilla marketing for us. That's all we want. Yeah.
Be ready with your how do I find and listen to podcast spiel that will be asked back because you're going to need to yell that at the stoplight.
It's the modern day Greg Poupon.
It's a podcast. Those are shows. It's like radio. You want to go on an app. It's like, what kind of phone do you have? Is it Android?
And then there's cars honking. The light turns green.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a whole mess.
Please let us know how successful these.
Maybe you know what? Maybe just make some pamphlets, print them in paper airplanes, and throw them through windows.
Yes, do that.
Oh man, just print it on some bologna and just lay it on people's car paint.
I'm missing when we used to have Randy's third way of the support.
Yes.
That's what this feels like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The second way, patreon.com/TV dudes. There you can make a per episode pledge. Give us a buck an episode, and in exchange, we do little bonus minis that are. Did I already say exclusive? They're exclusive just to you, little listeners. And we appreciate all of your support. Patreon.com/TV dudes. And there's a third way, Randy.
No, the third way is definitely baloney.
Baloney's even
definitely
better.
printing on baloney.
I was
That
just
is-
wanting somebody to cut newsprint into TV dudes as a podcast you should listen to and like make a paper airplane and throw it
you
in.
mean like Son of Sam type
Yes,
letters?
yes.
Some Zodiac shit.
Zodiac shit, yeah.
I mean, it's 2018. There's a font that just looks like that shit, but
People are going to think Ted Cruz listens to the podcast.
Oh, yeah. We are members of the Electric Sweater Network.
Electric sweater.
And it's a collective of podcasts that are dedicated to talking about television. So go check it out, electricsweater.com. And you know what? It's time for the news, Randy.
All right, so there are not a lot of stories this week, but they're all kind of notable. First of all, the full cast of The Mandalorian, that's the new Star Wars show, has been released.
Is this a Jon Favreau?
It is spearheaded by Jon Favreau. It will be exclusive on Disney+. It is set between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Follows a lone gunman traveling through a lawless corner of the galaxy. Rumor has it he's going to have a baby with him. I think we heard that. I think we got asked that question about the baby thing. They've released the full cast.
Is that
So-
a joke? I forgot.
No, that's actually someone asked. There's rumors about it.
no. But I'm laying money down that at the end of this series, he leaves that baby with Uncle Ben.
Yeah, that's the current bet. Yeah, that was a question from last week, Grant.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I'm just making a cheesy spitball, like
He's right. I think that's absolutely what's going to happen.
like the origin of the gun kind
but
of
no,
stuff.
because it's between Force Awakens, so it's got to be Rey, which was your other guess.
Yeah, and then Luke takes the baby and just throws it over his shoulder.
Yes.
It's like, oh shit, the baby didn't matter.
Take that, audience. I don't give a fuck.
So the cast we knew before was like Pedro Pascal, Gina Carano. They've added the full cast. Full cast includes Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad. That's great.
I mean, cool.
Carl Weathers. It's a little weird, but I love Carl Weathers. Werner Herzog is in the cast.
Weird.
That is weird. Yeah.
Awesomely weird.
Like I don't understand how I don't know how reality works anymore. Also, Nick Nolte, by the way.
I believe Patton Oswalt posted something about. Oh man, if I can find it. No, I'm not gonna look for it. Whatever. He just had a really funny tweet about it. Werner Herzog DNA. Yeah, this is a good story, Grant.
Yeah.
Derailed.
All right. Jessica Lange is teaming up with the creator of American Horror Story, Ryan
Murphy,
to create a new Netflix show, The Politician. She'll be starring opposite Ben Platt.
I mean, who hits 60 and just is suddenly like finds their muse, or it becomes someone else's muse
crazy.
in a string of shows?
So it's going to be about it's going to center around Ben Platt, who's the star of Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway.
He's the guy from Pitch Perfect too, right?
Possibly.
Pitch Perfect.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the magician guy who had that killer solo.
That's
in
who
the
that
end.
is?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay. So he's Peyton, a wealthy Santa Barbara. Oh, this is great. A wealthy Santa Barbarian. Is that really what they call them?
Oh, please
If you're
let
from-
it be.
If you're from Santa Barbara, do they call you a Santa Barbarian? That's
Always let it be
fantastic.
Santa Barbarite somehow. But
Barbarite.
I thought the Santa Barberas.
No, Santa Barbara
No, that's the baseball team.
It's an animation studio.
Yeah.
But he's a Santa Barbarian, which I assume means a barbarian dressed up as Santa
Yeah.
with political aspirations. This show is never going to be as good as the image I just had in my head.
Oh my god.
Each season will focus on a different political race of his career, similar to the anthology storytelling in American Horror Story. That's interesting. I don't know if Ryan Murphy's got the chops to do it, but
Hear the lamentations of the women, bro.
Christmas barbarians.
Like Santa Barbarians with their popped collars and their white polo shirts.
Anyway, Santa Barbarians.
I feel like if anyone can potentially pull that off, it's Ryan Murphy.
Yeah. Okay, finally, another chapter in the Marvel Netflix saga. Apparently, one of the things notable is that Punisher Season 2 just got announced. It's coming out.
Yeah, they must have been already putting this into production before.
I mean, they
I'll be honest, Randy.
It.
If Punisher Season 2 were about him coming out, I'd watch the shit.
He comes out and then he moves to Santa Barbara because Santa Barbara.
Honestly, I didn't watch Punisher Season 1, so like no spoilers if this is like old news. but I would watch the hell out of that show.
Gay Punisher.
Yeah, the ass Punisher.
That's a different show. Netflix doesn't show that one.
There's a trilogy of those movies out already. I guarantee probably 8 or 9 of those.
Yeah, it's on
I own
Pornhub.
them. They're pretty good.
There's not as many guns. A lot more dildos. But what was I saying? Something about Punisher? Anyway, Punisher is actually gonna have a season 2.
Coming out in like next month.
Yeah. But apparently the deal that Netflix made is that Marvel doesn't have rights to reboot those characters until 2020, which Screen Rant writes as if that's a big deal. 2020 is like a year and a half
years.
away. Yeah.
They
it's
could start
working on it
pre-production,
now.
right?
Yeah. They already know what the movies are they're releasing.
They've
in
already
2019.
started pre-production.
Yeah.
They did this 5-10 years ago.
They already know what movies they're producing in 2019 and 2020 and probably 2021. So I don't think it matters too much when they can use those characters.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome though,
Yeah.
because now we know for sure that we're only gonna have to deal with one more Netflix Marvel show.
No, there's another Jessica Jones season coming.
Yeah, Jessica Jones is still in the pipeline.
Oh, fine. So we're going to talk about Good Place. Is Kyle around?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Kyle, have you seen The Good Place?
I haven't seen this week's. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're going to have to leave. Bye, Kyle.
Go back to
All right, Kyle's gone.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about episode Janet. I think
Janet's.
Janet's. We left off like a couple weeks ago since our last check-in.
Like mid-November.
There were a couple weeks. There was a couple weeks break.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
but-
was worried they were done for the season.
I think we only missed one episode that we haven't discussed, which
Right.
was the one with Michael McKeon, who you predicted
Doug
it was going to be.
Forsythe.
Yes.
Doug Forsythe.
Yeah, I was amazed. It was right. Like, that prediction was dead on.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good episode. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But this episode was brilliant.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, for many reasons, the biggest one, of course, is the show for Darcy Carden. Like she
Yes.
got to really. They were talking about this on the Good Place podcast, which I really recommend to people.
I'm so behind. I forgot to check in with that.
They have her on, and they have the writer and they have the director, and they talk to her about like what was the feeling when you got this script and saw that you were playing every part. And she was like, "Is there a word for terrified but honored?" and
she nails
nailed
it.
it. She's so good.
I mean, there's something to be said for the writers having a very clear command of each character's voice, because like the lines definitely like help her do her job.
Yeah, the characters
But-
sound like themselves in the writing. Yeah.
There were several moments where I had to remind myself that they were not overdubbing. They could have just as easily
Just
in
done the
2018
voices. Yeah.
had Kristen Bell, do it like Frozen and just come in and do like voice acting, recording, and just dropped in their voices over the top of her.
Right.
Well, and here's
or
the thing.
act it out initially, and then she just looks at it and mimics it.
They
right?
they did do
Did-
something.
did
like
they?
That. There were
I figured
rehearsals
a
where
couple, right?
They did. There's a footage that exists of them cutting all this together of the actors reading their parts and doing it as they would do it. And apparently, Darcy Carden listened to that for weeks.
I kind of got
all
the feeling
listened
that she
to.
must have, because it's clearly her voice, but she's doing like not just an impression of them, but
Yeah.
I mean it's them delivering these lines. Like you can tell it's Chidi, you can tell it's Eleanor, you can tell everybody.
Yeah.
the
Jason.
first minute before like we are kind of led on that like we're supposed to be able to pick out the different personalities.
Yeah.
It's immediately
Oh,
apparent.
it's so clear.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, before they've told us, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Oh, and she's gonna do this the whole episode.
By the
This
way, I
is
love that she
amazing.
had the British accent for Tahani.
Yeah.
That was so good.
And whole jokes ride on her pulling this off too. I mean,
yeah.
it's not just that she's doing it in the background of the episode. Like in that scene, part of the joke is that Michael is like, "Well, that one's Jason." Like, man, they're all obvious.
Right.
It's not just Jason pointing at boobs.
or how she does Jason's face that he does, his little derpy face with his
God.
lips.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the lines are so slick. When Jason accidentally
Summons
Pillboy in a broken hot tub. He summons a broken hot tub, and I think they're playing Edward 40 Hands.
Yeah.
But Pillboy's lines are like, so I just was sitting there, I was chilling, and I wasn't, and then I was. And then when she makes him vanish, he goes, "Aw, dip, I'm not again."
Yeah. That was so good. Yeah.
There was a moment in the episode, though, when she meets bland Janet or neutral Janet.
Yes.
When they're out there, she figures out she can throw shade now. There was a Jeremy Bearimy, like, dot of the eye, like, broke me moment when
the dot broke me.
When she belches and it turns into Cher.
Yeah.
I mean, like when the bathtub falls in Money Pit and Tom Hanks just breaks for 5 minutes and just like, like I ugly laugh, like lost it in the living room.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that shit to auto-tune.
Had I seen this episode and it was just that aspect of her having to deal with that, I would have been blown away.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Then we get this other whole plot, and one of my favorite comedic actors, Stephen Merchant, pops up.
Oh, yes.
Man. And by the way, it's in an office.
And in office, he's just a business manager, and he's
Existence's best boss.
Yeah.
On his coffee mug.
It's all so delightfully awkward and perfect for a character like
The
him.
monochrome
So good.
screens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the guy Matt who has to deal with all the weird porn.
We got 700. Well, and I love that like 99% of all new human behaviors are weird sex things.
Yeah.
We got 700 in the last second. Oh yeah, Burning Man started, Matt. It's going to be a long week, buddy.
Matt, we need a paperclip. Oh man, what for?
What are you going to use it for?
It felt so Rick and Morty at that point. It's like,
Oh yeah, if there was a
geez.
live action Morty, it's that dude.
Yeah, yeah. And then on top of that, we've got the big Chidi and Eleanor resolve.
Oh, I was going to say
Where
something
were you
else.
going?
Well, the very end.
Oh yeah.
No, that was absolutely great. Like that kiss was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was a great Chidi, like very on character Chidi argument
Yeah.
for like why it doesn't matter to her, why he can't let it matter.
Also, the cutting away to all the people that she's becoming as like that was really well done.
Yeah, and that it their will they won't they kiss like
Yeah.
legit saves the universe a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
Was this a season finale?
No, we still have
Holy
episodes.
shit!
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we still have
That's
episodes.
another thing that this show just does. That
Yeah.
it's like I was like, I bet there's another episode.
Yeah,
after
there's another
this.
couple after this.
And the fact that it ends, and obviously spoilers.
Yeah, yeah.
But the fact that it ends with them escaping up into the good place.
Yep. And the way they reveal it.
And we get a little bit of a glimpse of it.
Yeah.
They climb out of the mail like a mailbox
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
There's like Good Place Postal on the seal on the front of the mailbox, and I need to go back and check what Stephen Merchant says. But when Michael's flipping out about like, well, who would I appeal it to and blah blah blah,
yeah.
I want to say he says something about just you'd have to go talk to administration at the place.
Yeah.
Like I think he just says the place at one point, and I
Yeah.
want to check because I want to know if they've dropped a hint that there's a good place and a bad place and a neutral place and a whatever, but then there's also like
The place.
like just
yeah.
pure admin.
Right.
I mean, I would think that he's kind of admin.
I would think that like where they are is so like I want to know if I just misheard or if they really did like.
But I also love there's the big reveal about nobody's been to the good place in 521 years.
Yes, I like not Harriet Tubman, not nobody.
Yeah, and that Michael Mealy's like, the bad place hack your system. He's like, no, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is clearly where we're going. Like, this is one of the conceits of the Good Place built into it was that it seemed kind of unfair. You're like, wait a minute, nobody get like this. These are pretty stringent rules.
Like Chidi does not belong in the bad place. There was never a reason for Chidi to be in there because he's indecisive.
But if everybody goes to the bad place, then it makes sense,
Right.
And then the show becomes about them changing the whole thing, and it's another big, huge swerve in this show that's had so many big swerves.
Well, and the show is so much about Michael.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just had assumed really up until this episode that it was about Eleanor or about the group, like
Right.
about the brain bunch or
Right,
whatever.
right, yeah.
Like it's like finding out that Buffy's about Spike or something. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like this is about Michael finding his humanity and changing the system.
Yeah.
there was a point, I mean, it's kind of corny to say I got chills, but I got kind of chills when Janet's telling Michael, you're the one who needs to take this over. You're
Yeah.
the one who needs to fix this. And I was
Yeah.
just like, this is really awesome. This
You keep
shifting
traipsing
dynamic
around
here.
all these all these
Yeah.
different dimensions, looking for someone to fix this for you. It's
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
This show's awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And they've been renewed.
Yep, season 4.
All right, should we bring him back in?
Yeah. Kyle?
Hi.
Hey, you're back.
Hi, I'm back.
How was the void?
It's pleasant.
Good.
Very pleasant out
Nice.
there.
Yeah.
The walls are kind of thin between here and the void, though. So I spend most of the time with my fingers in my ears.
Making
Good call.
what,
Good
making
call.
what noises to block us out?
I still can't name this thing.
The Vuvuzela?
I always think if you wiggle your finger in your ear, it sounds like Pac-Man. Wampa, 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 wampa.
Oh,
A
yeah.
little bit, yeah.
I bet your daughters love that one.
Folks, it's time for us to talk about the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
Over on Amazon. His second season is out, and I didn't watch it, but you all did.
I think we missed the boat on this one the first time. Didn't we come to it late?
I watched it when it aired late in the year last year.
Okay, maybe it just lasted late.
No, it was November of last year. So it was right after
Okay.
Thanksgiving. This was a surprise, binge through. So I loved Golden Girl. I mean, fucking Golden
Girl.
Gilmore Girls,
yeah.
Paulino's previous show.
I loved Golden Girls as
Yeah,
well.
both actually. And I think it's funny that almost nobody I knew that loved Gilmore Girls really liked the revival seasons.
Oh, really?
Movie they just didn't. I don't know. I don't know anybody that was really thrilled with it.
Yeah.
But everybody loves this show.
Yeah.
Because it's got. Whatever magic is in the patter of the language from the original Golden, keep doing it. Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
It's not the same patter, but that magic is here. This has the same spark and energy to it. And season 1 was really fun. I've only seen the first 5 of season 2, but I feel like now that all the characters are set up, they really got to hit the ground running, and this show just kind of got to charmingly chug along this season.
Well, it's funny you say that because I felt like 2 characters that didn't really get a whole lot to do besides what they were intended to do by their relationship was the parents of
Yeah, Miss Maisel.
Miss Maisel.
yeah.
What's her
Play-
name? Not Maud. What is it? They
It's,
call her Midge.
Midge.
That-
Midge Maisel, played by Rachel Brosnahan, who, by the way, was definitely put on this earth to put Sherman Palladino dialogue out.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
She's great. But her parents are played by Maren Hinkle, who plays Rose, and Tony Shalhoub, who
Yeah.
plays Abe.
Yeah.
And yeah, they take a big spotlight in this season.
Well, we get to find out that they're not just 2-dimensional characters.
Yeah.
They're not just the parents and prudes, that they actually have these wild streaks to them.
And
Opening in Paris, I thought was a really good choice.
that worked really well. Often it can pop the tension, especially on a new seat. It could have been really disruptive and lost their footing to change locations a little bit like that. But it really worked. Also, something that's worked so far in what I've watched is her softening on being friends with and kind of liking Joel again.
Yeah, that really
but-
made a difference.
But then, not in a tragic I keep seeing him with a girl or whatever. But they keep seeing each other with somebody else, just friendly.
They've been married for a while and they have kids.
Yeah.
Like they're friends.
Yeah, but every time she starts to think, I kind of like him again. Maybe I'll really want to make a go at it. Like she calls him from France, but all through the season so far, in the Catskills, she keeps seeing him and thinking, yeah, Joel. And then she sees a girl put her arm around him, and then she ends up liking Chuck a little bit.
Well,
But
and I think he made the point in the first episode back that he's like, you can't do what you want to do and be with me.
Yeah.
Which I think
Yeah.
is very mature, and that's a growth for that character that
Yeah.
I think is what makes it okay for him to like him. We all like him a little bit more. It's like, okay, you see it.
I didn't know why he was
And-
there in the first season.
And that's what I really. They set themselves up with this impossible task, the creators of the show, to make him just a total all-out villain
Yeah.
in the very first episode of season 1 to
I
make us
never
hate
wanted
him.
him to speak or her to speak to him again after
Yeah.
episode 1.
Yeah.
And now their whole job is how can we bring him around?
How can we redeem
and
it? And they
they're not
did.
going to do it in one episode. They just do it little by little. They chip away. And yeah, in this season, you're finding yourself sympathizing with
There's
him.
how far? Do you watch this whole thing, Kyle?
Yep, all the way through.
So there's a bit toward the end where he shows up at the comedy club when Susie, her manager, needs him, and he basically lays down the law as a club owner who's not going to pay her, and punches the dude in the face. And Susie's like, whole new light. and if Susie gives him the stamp of approval, then it feels like the audience has to give him the stamp.
Because it was a big deal, and just as far as I've seen, when he asked how the gig went,
Yeah.
about the gig where her father's there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was growth for her that she didn't shut down or crumple, that she just kept going with the act.
Yeah.
Oh man, can we talk about that episode for a second?
That was amazing.
That was one of the standout moments from this season.
Yeah.
Was essentially set the scenario up without spoiling any of it. Is she goes to do a comedy gig and she gets partly through the set and she finds out her father.
She's
sitting
just barely
there.
into it. It's like
And her father's there, and he does not know. And all of a sudden, he's in the audience looking shell shocked because he found out his daughter.
And
not just one of her sets, but a midnight blue set. She was specifically told to do.
And she doesn't bomb. She leans into it and she goes off on her dad like
Makes
the
a dick
whole
joke
set.
about him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. The sort of the building up Tony Shalhoub's character here, building him up and giving him more weight means that when they get to a point where we have to lean on that story between her and her dad, we actually care what's going on with them. We can see that he's not just this old man from a prior generation who doesn't get it, that he's trying really hard, but that this is like finding out his daughter's a prostitute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though you can see, or at least so the end of the 5th episode, I think is what I just saw. They're at the Catskills, and it's like the last night, and a comedian that's been on Ed Sullivan comes and performs at their resort.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time he's spoken to her since seeing her set. But it's the first time that isn't a like, let's go out on the porch and discuss how we're going to handle. Like, it's the first time that he leans over and just says anything to her.
It's when the silence is broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he leans over and says, "So are you as funny as him?"
Yeah.
And she like takes a moment and says, "Funnier."
Yeah.
Hell
And you can like, maybe I'm imagining it, but like I feel like you can see the proud of you for killing it, because he was in that room.
Yeah.
He may have been furious, but like he was in that room. She owned it.
Yeah.
She killed in that room.
Yeah.
And he also has just come off the rather weird subplot of her brother.
Yeah, which is weird. That is a weird subplot.
Oh yeah.
I think that was.
I thought we switched shows for a second.
And the reason that's set up that way is to give us a reason to push him out of his job and all that stuff.
Well,
That is
and we
all
had
it
to emasculate Tony Shalhoub a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Like he had to be knocked down a hair because he was super puffed up about his security and he was trying to brag to his son and everything. And it doesn't just like you find out something about the brother. You find out something about the brother that absolutely they almost pointedly embarrassed the living shit out of him in that room.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
they're like, no, I think the janitor actually has higher kill. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to
Oh,
twist the
gosh.
knife, you
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Well, something that I really enjoyed in the first episode, and I feel like didn't play out quite the way I thought, was the relationship with the mom and how she addressed kind of the secret life from season 1, which goes into this first season, and essentially the whole thing that if Midge is never gonna tell her mom the truth, then her mom's like, well, you shouldn't have any say over my life. I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want.
Right.
And I was really hoping for like some big confrontation between the two of them where, she either like confessed to her mom and her mom like got it, or I don't know, her mom was sitting in the comedy club, like one of those moments. Yeah. So maybe it's coming, but I feel like with the setup with them in Paris, they didn't.
You haven't gotten to all of it? You watched all of it?
Oh, I meant maybe it's coming in season 3.
I mean, her mom knows.
Oh yeah,
season. Yeah.
Well, and that's the
you
thing.
want the confrontation moment.
I felt like that was kind of a cheap. You're talking about the dinner party episode.
Yeah.
I felt like the dinner party episode was that moment should have relieved a ton of tension.
Yeah,
but instead they.
It up.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
It didn't really.
That's disappointing, given that like the way that the mom handled when they found the mom in France, and she was like, "Why? No, I just live here now. Like,
Yeah.
I know the grandkids are fine. I'll miss them."
Yeah.
They can come here and visit.
Yeah.
Like the way she handled that, I really thought was going to be the mirror that would make Midge go, "Oh, my mom actually does understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She wants to just be happy. That's exactly what I just did."
Yeah.
Like I thought it would be a great moment to have
But
her.
instead, Midge is just a total prude. Like, what do you only have one
it makes
chair? What are
her
you doing?
back. Yeah, like
Yeah. I did like that her dad stayed in France.
that
that
shocked me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was they just decided to become Parisian for a while, and I'm like, oh, that was great. That was
That was
a super
fantastic.
good episode. Can we talk about Zach Levi and how good he was here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that guy, he's going to be Shazam, and I feel like that guy got one noted because he was Chuck, and he was great as Chuck. But I feel like everybody decided that all he could play was Chuck.
Yeah.
And like he was Fandral in the second Thor movie.
He is in one of the Chipmunk movies.
Yeah, but he never really became anything.
Got a chance to be young Don Draper.
Yeah. But he kills it here.
Oh, he's great.
He's so good, and his Shazam buff bod has worked out for him.
Well,
He
just this
towers
weird
over her.
and this weird misanthrope, but not.
But a likable
not shitty
misanthrope.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like you're like you hate people. I get that, but you seem like a genial hates people kind of person.
Yeah, like when they leave the play halfway through,
Yeah.
and Midge is like, "We're leaving." He's like, "You don't have to be a jerk about it. Like, we can bail out because
was a
we're
great
adults,
moment.
but you don't have to like announce it."
Did you guys see the? You saw the whole thing. Did you
Yeah.
get to the episode where they went to the artist's studio?
No,
Oh, that was great.
Oh, that's definitely. If you only watch one more episode, watch.
Oh,
that
I'm
one.
watching the rest of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
a really fun show.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing, Lenny Bruce.
Oh yeah, he was
Every
great
time
in the
that guy-
first season.
every
There just
time that
wasn't
guy
enough
shows
of him.
up. Every time that guy shows up, it's great. And this closes out with the Lenny Bruce thing that I assume really happened. I don't know if it did or not, but it ties so well into what's going on. Maybe it didn't, but it's a fantastic bit.
I catch myself like on my phone while I watch
Wanting
these
to know?
episodes. Yeah, like trying to get the historical significance
Like,
of all the Lenny Bruce stuff.
The Trial of Lizzie Borden is a real Broadway play from '59. Like I had to look up what fucking play they were at. That was
Also,
Lizzie
Alex Borstein's Susie has a great arc this season too.
Yes.
because they could easily push her off to the side. They do a little bit, but I'm going to wander around with a
Borden.
plumber.
The whole fucking plunger thing.
Oh, my
man.
God.
Walk around the plunger.
Oh, I can't remember the name of the plunger.
I thought that was so dumb
Yeah.
when she showed up there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, just trying to move the plot forward. And when they kept making the joke, like,
Yep.
what?
And when
it
the
was
other
so
guy
great.
calls her out, that has clearly also been scamming there for
Yes.
summers
Yeah.
or several summers. I think he says like 7 years he's been doing this.
Well, and then the bit where she has a couple hitmen come and they know her as the girl from the neighborhood.
Oh, that's so
and she
great.
sort of wins them over, and that comes back a little bit too. And she's got a great late in the season confrontation with their old nemesis that is really fascinating stuff
yeah.
too. So
When the whole employee set at the resort stages a like multi-day manhunt for her because they think she's missing, and the look on her face of like, oh my god.
My favorite moment with the hitmen was you're really like wondering what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where you're like, they're going to kill her. And the one guy goes, we made you a doggy bag.
the other thing is, this show, as good as it is, in season 1, it was all about when she's on the stage. In season 2, even as good as it is, and it's better than season 1, it's still, whenever she's up on the stage is when it really shines.
Yeah, but I do think it's better paced, and I'm enjoying it more than season 1.
Yeah, me too.
You know, if you've never watched this show before, the interesting thing is they don't just tell jokes. They tell really complex jokes in a way to where like they'll show a joke not working on stage and then working a little better, and they like quick cut these jokes together where it's like 4 versions of a joke, but the actual joke is hearing all 4 versions and then this one version at the end that's like really great. And they kill, like you were saying, like all these scenes with her on the stage. They really, it's something to marvel at.
Yep.
Oh, pun!
I'm a sucker for him. Well, do you guys want to jump over and talk a little bit about the Star Trek shorts?
Yeah.
So there's been 3 released so far. They're doing them once a month. And we talked a little bit about the first one, which has Tilly. And the second one was called Calypso.
Yep.
This stars Aldous Hodges.
Right.
Yeah. And he is on Discovery 1,000 years in the future from the events that we've been watching in the show.
Right.
And it seems like the ship's been abandoned, but it's being run like out in space by this AI. And this was written by Michael Chabon.
Oh, that makes sense. So the thing I heard from some friends before I watched this was that this did not feel like a Star Trek episode.
It's beautiful.
It's almost more of a Black Mirror episode, although it's not that dark.
Yeah,
It's
actually pretty positive, pretty optimistic.
but it feels like a standalone sci-fi show. It's not in the Star Trek universe necessarily.
What is Black Mirror if not dark? Is that just well done sci-fi?
Yeah, I guess that's it. Well done sci-fi. Okay. It's what's weird is this whole thing of like 1,000 years in the future, an AI, one man aboard an abandoned starship is not a Star Trek plot.
Yeah,
but I loved it. This is my favorite of the 3.
And I don't necessarily know what to make of how this might actually fit into our timeline of the Discovery.
Right.
Because it could be an alternate timeline, a mirrorverse, it could be, whatever.
Right.
But the story that we get, that this guy is just kind of on an abandoned ship and he gets picked up by the Discovery, and his interactions with the AI ends up having them share a little brief, like, romantic episode.
It felt, if anything, it felt like something like WALL-E or Moon.
Yeah.
The sort of isolationist sci-fi about making a human connection with things that aren't necessarily human.
I thought it played out pretty beautifully.
Yeah. It's absolutely my favorite of the three. And I liked all of them. But I think this was a really, really good episode and definitely worth people watching.
Yeah. But I agree with you. Like, where does it fit into our universe?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily fit into anything, but as a standalone, I am all for it.
Yeah. Then let's talk about The Brightest Star, which is the one that just came out.
Yep.
This is one that has Saru, and this is while he's living on his Kelpian planet before he gets picked up and joins the Federation. And this has him as basically one of the serfs, one of the slaves, the food
like a
fodder.
slave food pig.
Yeah, they're a food race. For
He's Abe from Abe's Odyssey,
for the
right?
Bayou. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, it was kind of like, once I got the sense of it, this could have been a 5-minute episode.
It's really short, and it probably longer than it needs to be, even as short as it is. Yeah. And the thing is, I love Saru. I think he's a great character.
They needed more plot.
But yeah, the thing
if they
is,
wanted that much time.
Yeah. It shows us a little bit we didn't know, which is like, oh, okay, so in the Mirror Universe, these guys were food for the Empire, and they seem pretty bad. But I'm like, okay, so it's already pretty bad in the Federation Universe too. Like, they're just still food. And Saru, who we've introduced as sort of this guy who's a little bit of a coward and has some issues that we start to see, he's actually like the bravest of his race.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was an interesting reframe.
The bravest and, like, by far the most brilliant. Like, the fact that he's able to take advanced technology and reverse engineer it in order to start talking to, who we end up finding out is Captain Georgiou.
Yeah.
Was an interesting reveal. It just it kind of plods along for a little bit too long, and
He's the one true Morty foretold in the prophecy.
Yes. Yeah. It's a solid episode, and honestly, I'd watch it just to have that meeting between him and the first meeting between him and Georgiou is great. But yeah, it's given what we've seen Doug Jones capable of, I feel like this could have been a stronger story.
You know what is kind of weird about it? Like, kind of similar to what Les was just mentioning, the idea that like the Kelpians were this like food source, so like these pigs in a pen, kind of caged up, and you imagine that the Baul are also on this planet,
right,
just like controlling them. They're in the woods, and the predators come out and raid and pull out whatever Kelpians they want to eat, right? But it's actually that the Baul are some sort of beings that are out in space and have a teleportation device, and they're able to suck them up whenever they come and willingly give themselves up as an offering.
Yeah, it's
that dynamic.
It's a different thing, and also given that they were evolved to have this sort of danger sense, it makes more sense for there to be predators around them,
right? And
not a weirdly religious, they devote themselves sacrificing thing.
But they're kind of subservient in a way.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit what we've known of him before.
Now I want to know if they only developed the religion and the teleport thing because, like, the prey we keep, like, if the deer or the cows or whatever we were trying to eat developed like a ganglia that told them when we were coming.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? We need a distance weapon. No, like a real distance weapon.
Yeah, it feels like it's a newer dynamic between them and the predator on their system. Like they evolved the threat ganglia prior to this
when they were a younger race. You think the teleporter is the being shot from a helicopter, so the muscles don't tense up?
Yeah.
Well, and also the bowl must obviously be more advanced, but they're just not to the warp capability level where the Federation would take notice and coordinate them. Because otherwise, I would imagine the Federation would be like, "Hey guys, stop eating other intelligent beings."
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, they taste terrible when they're all freaked out when we shoot them. You know what tastes great? Religious ecstasy. What if they were really, really happy when they die?
So it'll be interesting to see. I think there's just one more before the season.
One more before the season starts, and I don't remember what they gave us a teaser of it.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
But I'm glad they did these. I would say the third one is weak, but still worth watching. The second one is great, and the first one I really liked as well. So I think these were all worth watching.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like, they could have just not. I mean, I guess they wanted to remind us, like, hey, it's coming, it's coming. It's just taking a while.
I've been jonesing for some Discovery, so I like these little dribs and drabs. But I also discovered as we're putting together our best of list that despite the fact that you and Mike do a Star Trek podcast, I was the only one who put it in my top 10.
Right. And I mean, well, I was going to discuss this with you next week.
Yeah,
but
we should.
The idea was for me that I put it on my best of last year,
it was a split season.
and it was the same season.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't want to say this same season, 2 years running.
Yeah.
I gave it
and I think
top
that's fair,
pick.
but I actually liked it enough that I would. That is one of my favorite things I watched this year. Even just a half season.
Well, they split it pretty evenly between the first season and this Mirrorverse second part of it. Okay. Well, the last show that we have to talk about is Counterpart is back. And as far as I understand, Les, you are now best friends with like half the cast because you've interviewed all of them.
I've interviewed the former showrunner Amy Berg
And Justin
twice,
Marks, right?
and then I also interviewed the creator and now showrunner Justin Marks, who also wrote, I believe, Favreau's Jungle Book movie. I think he wrote the script for that. Anyway, so Justin Marks is now the showrunner, and Aaron Levy is the head writer or one of the other writers from the writer room. I believe Aaron wrote, if either she or Marks wrote the first episode that just aired.
Nice.
And then I met one of the other, Gianna Sobel, who I oddly found out she is who argued in the writer's room in the first season to not fridge Baldwin, the assassin character from the first season. She was going to just be shot and killed at pretty early on.
But yeah, she got her whole story,
and
in
her surviving was an argument in the writers' room of like, can we not just introduce a gay character and then assassinate her? Like, can we just not do that?
And that was the right call, by the way.
And like it made them like pause and like, are we just done with that character and hand waving it away? Or can we do something with it? And it opened up the conversation in the room. But yeah, so I've met a bunch of the writers and creators of this. Our AFF interview with Marks and Aaron Levy is up, has a bunch of wind. But
Nice. Speaking of producer, when I was watching the title sequence for this, it gives like a couple of the actors' names at the beginning, and then I would say like a quarter of the way into that long title sequence, it goes, this person, producer, executive producer, production person. Like, I was like, that. Why is someone a producer and another person's like production person, whatever, and then executive producer? There's so many different like co-executive producers. I'd swear there's like 15 or 20 people all listed as producer in the beginning of the episode.
This is Stars, right?
Yeah.
Stars does seem to be still getting their shit together. Look at what all the shit that's gone on with American Gods.
yeah.
Like,
Everyone had it in their contract that I get my name at the front title.
And as much as I love Counterpart, the production process of it was really weird.
Yeah.
Season 1, they had like 2 years of working on, like so long that it was freaking out the writers' room of like we shouldn't have this long to be here. But consequently, they got to make a bunch of weird show bibles and stuff. Like basically any job you see on that show, there's probably a like orientation first day on work manual.
A read-in?
That they went ahead and did. To a maddening degree just because they had the time and they wanted to keep everybody like, let's use it.
Yeah, because that's what the show needs, to be a little more confusing.
But like it all fucking tracks. Like the stamps that they get, like 2 stamps instead of 3, so like all of that ridiculous shit tracks apparently.
Well, since we've gotten through, dropping every name under the sun, you want to jump into what the season's about?
So if you didn't watch season 1, this show is just outright confusing.
Yeah, we'll do just a quick recap of season 1.
It's a John Le Carre, it's basically like this is Cold War spy stuff. Only what if instead of it being a Berlin Wall between East and West Berlin, it's a wall between us and a parallel dimension we discovered. Only there's hints that we didn't discover a parallel dimension as much as we did a Philadelphia experiment accident that bifurcated, like split our universe into a copy. And so the two universes aren't 1 and 2 because there would be a huge shit show about who is 1 and who is 2. So it's Prime and Alpha.
See, I found myself calling it our universe and the other universe.
Yep. Except that who's ours and it's so our universe.
Wimpy Howard.
We're Prime.
Yeah.
Wimpy Howard is Prime, and then there's Alpha.
Yeah.
Because he's an alpha male.
The other. But I think also, so kind of that's on the surface, and then when you dive in with the main character Howard, played by J.K. Simmons, it's really the story of what if you had this other dimension, and there was a version of you that was like a total badass and just kind of hard on the surface. You know, what makes you different? Are you on a path to where you're going to eventually become that person, or is your own experiences make you a better individual? And that's what the main characters, well, both of versions of the main character.
So it's similar butterfly effect time travel kind of stuff of like if you go back and take one tiny thing, like you didn't work at like one shitty retail job in college, like does that make some foundational change to your personality? And now you're a slightly different person because people meet their other and it's
they say you can drive yourself crazy trying to trace all the steps.
Yeah, and like people, like it becomes at least in the first season, it's partly a show about how people don't like. They make a lot of nods at how people don't roll with this shit very well. People don't roll with finding out that there's a duplicate world. People don't like finding out that there's a world where they made different choices. Like it starts to fuck with you
so much so that they have, which I don't think we've seen it yet. Well, no, I guess we've kind of seen it, but they essentially have like a prison system for the people who find out the secret and they think are going to blab or try to abuse their position, like a guy who brings over a Prince album. Prince is dead.
It seems like the general plot, and correct me where I'm wrong, is that between these two worlds, one of the worlds fucked up and spread a flu to the other side that decimated
that's
their
a pure
population.
rumor.
Yeah.
A flu happened, and the side that it happened to, there's a group there that believes that the other side did this, like that it was a weaponized plague.
But as a result, as a retaliation, they've been sending a bunch of people over to kind of take over and swap out
sleeper cells.
Yeah, so they have a bunch of people on the other side that are they're duplicates and they're acting like they're the other person in their lives.
And season 1 ended with an attack on the Prime side, our side, that ended in both sides closing their gateways, essentially cutting off
so
access.
There's no movement between the worlds right now.
But they're able to communicate.
No. Actually,
because they have that camera, and I thought they were talking through the camera.
They're only talking to their own directors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird. And why is there a closed off chain of command like that? Like they can't talk to them in person.
Not entirely sure yet.
Yeah.
Why the directors are
mysteries.
so separate from the rest of the thing.
And the first time I saw that, my first thought was, wait, are they talking with each other and they don't realize it? Like they're telling each other what to do?
It felt like Super Dave Osborne in Curb Your Enthusiasm or whatever. Where he's the surrogate.
But in the first episode here,
that was Arrested Development.
This first episode back, we kind of start to hint that the season's going to deal with the directors and what's management, and what management, what the fourth floor is like, because we start to meet a new character. I believe right at the end of this episode. I saw this.
Oh, the investigator.
Yeah, and so we're starting to meet new characters, and we're starting to meet seeing the other side of some of those computer systems and where they're talking to. This idea that I'm hoping this season that they're going to get more into what's being protected here. Like we've seen the bureaucracy that maintains the day-to-day of how this hole between universes, if this existed, this is the bureaucracy system that would occur around it to stop it from being just we're not going to have this be just like a Stargate party everybody can run through. There's going to be a big fucked up system of
we've got rules, people,
stamps and crap that you're going to need to get. But that's just maintenance. That's just maintaining the existence of the thing. There's got to be higher ups on both sides that want to do something with it.
Yeah.
And more than just diplomacy trying to trade information, because and I think probably even bigger than trying to trade technology. Like the other side, because of having that plague, their medical technology is years beyond ours. But because we didn't have a plague, our TVs and phones and shit, our dumb technology, is way past theirs. Like, we have fun video games and shit. They have medical tech.
Yeah.
They don't shake hands. They don't smoke cigarettes. Like, tobacco stopped. Handshaking stopped. They have a whole lot of cultural crap that we don't have.
Kids are trained, like, if you see somebody cough on the playground, to leave that kid alone and
to tell someone.
Yeah, get that kid out of there. Well, I was going to say, what was interesting about this first episode wasn't necessarily what we saw, but what we didn't see, which is we didn't get to see any of the Howard from our universe, which is...
Wait, didn't we see him a little bit? I thought we saw him like kind of walking into the building, being a little bit more swaggery and aggressive. Is that not him?
Oh, no, because they show on next week, he's still in that cell. He's got a beard now.
Oh.
So season 1, Howard...
So Wimpy Howard's being a little bit more assertive now.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, because what I saw with the Howard from the other universe that's now in the Prime universe was that
so confusing.
Yeah, I know.
And he's got to act like that guy. Like, not everybody over there, most people over there don't know he's...
But is it an act? That's what I was wondering.
And that's the thing.
Or is he becoming more like this Howard? Does he like it?
Because it's still you. It's just you. Like, it's the little voice in your head that you go, no, we don't do that because we're like decent people. And if you just stopping yourself from because like all the choices that this other person's making, they aren't incomprehensible. It's not like you're Superman talking to Lex Luthor going, I don't understand how you came up with this plan and did it. You're a monster. You're a different version of Lex going, shit, man, that makes sense.
Well,
like,
right.
Something interesting they did that I think kind of talks about this journey is our Howard, when he went to the hospital, he would change the flowers out. He'd take the dead ones out, put a new one in.
He was just nice to the girl at the desk and stuff.
And when the new Howard came in, he didn't get that. He'd bring flowers, but he didn't know to put them in the vase, all right? We're now seeing at the beginning of this season, he's putting them in the vase, but he doesn't know to take the dead ones out yet. But he's putting new flowers in the vase.
Wait, so Wimpy Howard's the one in jail?
Yeah, Wimpy Howard's in jail on the other side. They caught him at the end of last season.
Oh, so it is the assertive one who's acting like
chilling
he's...
Exactly, yeah.
He's acting like he's Wimpy Howard.
Or, because here's the thing, at the end of last season, he had the choice to kind of run or to come back and face up. I won't get into too much of how it turned out, but he ended up coming back when he didn't have to. And it does make you wonder if we're, to use Breaking Bad as a reference, are we going to see not only the Walter White turn into the Heisenberg, but are we going to get to see Heisenberg transform into Walter White?
I think we are. I mean, I think that's kind of the crux of the show is kind of watching these men turn into one another and get a really full realization of who you might have been. Because at the start of the show, like, how can I be that guy? That guy's totally different than me. And it's getting more and more blurred between being able to tell the difference in the J.K. Simmons is...
Yeah.
He's taking a lot of estrogen pills.
Right?
Well, I got to say, my favorite thing from the show, before we leave this, is, oh my gosh, the woman from the other side who came to this side, found herself and herself's husband, and then got into the threesome relationship.
Oh yes. No, yeah.
That shit's awesome.
Is it Altman? Is that guy's name? No.
Yeah, I don't.
He's the intelligence officer on our side that kind of has to work with Howard Baldwin.
Peter Quayle.
No, not Quayle.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Quayle. We could go on about him.
I can't think of his name.
Well,
anyway, he's the intelligence. At the end of last season, Baldwin ends him, but he tells a story in the first season about sending a honeypot over, like basically sending a woman over to the other side to find himself on the other side, in order to seduce him, in order to fuck up his clearance on the other side, in order to and it gets the other guy killed, but then he can't tell anybody here about it or they'll start suspecting him because you're technically the same person, and if that guy can be corrupted and fucked with, then you probably can. And
because he knew that he could.
So,
be
like,
corrupted.
the idea of being high up in espionage in this is maddening, and you can see how people like break and stuff. But
well, and it's this idea that you know all these things about your counterpart that only the two you know, but the two you know. So, is your counterpart on your side? Is he on the other side?
Well, like the back half of that story is basically that you find out later, like that woman that he would have fallen in love with. I mean, both of him clearly would have, because both of her are now in our universe. Living off in a cabin in the woods, and like he's.
Oh wait, so that was the girl?
Yeah, I assume so, or at least a girl.
Okay.
Like, if that's the, I mean, I assume if the other one fell for a girl that hard in order to jeopardize his career, this is probably the same person.
Oh, and that's who gets assassinated?
Yeah, and they kill both of her.
Yeah. I also really liked the new addition lady, Betty Gabriel, as the FBI agent. I was like, this is pretty intriguing with her.
I found it fascinating just seeing how she talked about being read in. Like going from being a person not in the know, but like very talented and skilled to like, okay, I'm still this talented person, but now I know this crazy batshit.
I liked seeing a legit read-in too, because they talk about how Howard's read-in is not normal, and like we usually take weeks to tell you this because a lot of people like there's therapy sessions and a lot of people have trouble rolling with it, and it was kind of nice to see like a more processed read-in.
Would you like to know more? Yeah, right.
One of the things they mentioned in the interview with Marks and Levy was I asked like. Stuff that you never got to do or ideas that they had, because like some of this was first shot last shot. Like Marx just had a mental image about two guys reading code words to each other across a glass, and like that's the opening scene of season 1. But one of the things that they didn't get to, that they've not done, that they kind of gave up on because it just didn't work out that way, was something called 7 Minutes in Heaven. Not the spin the bottle game.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, I've heard of this.
But yeah,
we know this.
Where basically like you would find somebody on one of this on their side who had lost a kid, or who had lost something, or is widowed, lost a child, lost a brother, something like that, and has information you want, and you find their spouse, child, brother, whatever that's alive here, and you ransom them like. We'll give you 7 minutes in a room where you can hang out with your kid again or your brother again.
God, sell the world.
And it goes even further if that other person is like, if they don't know about the parallel universes, they just have info you want.
Yeah.
You'd look like a fucking wizard. Like, like to not explain the rest of it, but to just be like, what if Needful Things style, I could make that happen for you?
Yeah.
Would you tell me the launch codes?
Dude, that's
like,
insane.
you know what? I'll tell an angel to launch. You're clearly God.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm God. What are those launch codes?
Yeah.
I know everything but that.
Man. Well, fascinating. We'll see where it goes. I guess.
I'm going to keep watching. It's definitely.
I like it.
I'm through the looking glass, and I'm following enough. They're really good about a few episodes into last season. They made the story such to where we don't see the Howards in the same room at the same time. And I think that helps a lot. Also, the characters tend to be pretty different, although that may change this season in terms of like you don't see the same characters in two different scenes playing different characters. It's usually gives you visual cues.
Yeah, it'd be weird to have one actor playing the same character all throughout in the same time.
Well, I mean, there is a
that
couple.
would be super weird.
It'd be super
you would never
weird.
want to do that on a show, Kyle.
No, you definitely wouldn't want to do that on a show.
They did a little bit in season 1.
No, it would never
No, it
work.
would never work.
A one-man show.
See, yeah. No,
What about
I can't.
wait. Challenge accepted. What about the Hall of Rick?
No.
and Rick and
Kyle,
Morty.
Not in heaven nor
It
hell.
would never work.
It
Kyle,
will never work.
This is all going to make so much sense to you in a few weeks.
All right, guys. We're going to go take a quick break. We'll be back with some listener questions. Listener question time. So if you guys go to facebook.com/TV Dudes once a week, or Mr. Randy Lander puts up a post asking you guys
Has to be Randy.
give us questions. Yeah, it ain't the rest of us.
It's my pleasure. I enjoy it, and I would cry if someone took that duty away from me.
Really?
No.
Kyle, you just got a new job.
As we covered last week, it must be the Randy.
It must be me.
Hey, it's an excuse to get back on Facebook.
Our first question comes to us from Alec Miracle, who says, Dudes, as of a few days ago, I've officially announced my resignation from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And this comes after I've realized while watching it,
Hail Hydra.
there's really no point because it's just bizarrely absurd compared to the rest of the MCU. And you dudes may have had an influence on my decision. Kyle MacLachlan has been good, and Clark Gregg is about the only thing good in the show, but I've seen the error of my ways. Now, excuse me while I replace watching Agents next with Twin Peaks rewatch.
Alec, can you have some words with EJ before we have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 20 more years?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if you want your Clark
Drop
Gregg
'em
fix,
line.
though, you can watch New Adventures of Old Christine.
That's true. By the way, this ties in, if you want to jump down to Zach McLaren's question, it sort of ties into Zach's question.
Let's go ahead and jump down. Zach McLaren says, so it is with exceptionally heavy heart that I am now almost certainly giving up on Arrow. And with it, all of the Arrowverse, as I have given up on Flash and what's LOT?
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow as well over the last 2 years. Arrow was a show that I genuinely fell in love with back in 2013. Oh, back in 2013. But what kept me watching it was the shipping of Oliver and Felicity. With their third and now seemingly final breakup imminent, I can no longer overlook the show's many problems I had given up and have given up. My esteemed TV dudes, has there ever been a show that you've stayed with long past the point you should have due to, say, a specific actor or actors or because it appealed to something very specific other than The Walking Dead and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I also gave up in 2016? And then Dennis McElwain says, I'm not allowed to talk about Sons of Anarchy. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was impressed that Grant stuck with Lost all the way through it, though.
Shut up. Shut your mouth.
So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the show that I stuck with. I mean, he mentions, he's like, not that one and not Walking Dead, because those were the two. But I was looking through my, like, best of 2016 and, like, trying to see, like, did I stick with anything that I wouldn't have watched, that I wish I hadn't watched all of. And I'm like, Angie Tribeca, I watched the first few episodes, really liked it. Liked it so much that I bought it, and I've never to this day finished it. And I believe there's like 2 more seasons.
Wow.
And I realized it was kind of a one-joke thing. But I don't regret watching it. I didn't stick with it. I don't tend to have shows where I watched it for like 3 years, and then I'm like, oh man, why did I watch 3 years of that? It's more of, I watched 3 episodes, and I projected ahead to future radio. I was like, do not watch this show.
Easy one for me.
Yeah.
I should have probably cut out of Entourage a lot sooner than I did,
yeah.
which is I stuck around to the very end.
I don't.
Oh, man.
I don't feel like Entourage changed. Like
No.
I feel like Entourage was the. I know that this is Velveeta cheesed it bad for me.
They had the
Season
one
one,
The
and
first
it
2
was,
seasons were kind of good when they still had heart, I thought.
Yeah.
when they had heart.
they were
the
douchebags.
most misogynistic the first 2 seasons.
They
They were
more heart
douchebags,
then.
but it just became superficial. It's like the same thing as like what happened with Sex and the City as it went on. I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good comparison.
But yeah, most of the, like when it's a long running show, like I gave up on Walking Dead. I gave up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. eventually.
Oh, Dexter.
I gave up
yeah.
on Dexter.
I gave up on Dexter. I gave up on Friends. I did watch Friends longer than I should have, but I gave up on Friends.
Archer is one of those shows where
yeah.
I keep going, man, like it just kept dropping in quality, but I'm like, the voices are so good.
Yeah.
But it just feels like they're repeating all the same jokes.
I did completely finish out Sons of Anarchy, and I completely finished out True Blood, and both of those I could have just stopped the last 2 seasons. It was a pure like, no, God damn it, I'm going to see the end of this arc, even though I am really annoyed with where the story's going. And in both of those, I kind of regret the last season's time.
We love to crap on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., kind of to get back to the very thing that started this.
I do love to crap on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I got to say, that Ghost Rider half season, though, I was really digging that. If you're going to bring Ghost Rider to TV, that's the way to do it.
I don't want to break Randy's heart here, but 30 Rock is one of those shows where I kept
Nope.
I just it felt like
man.
diminishing returns with like
Oh man,
Every
that
episode, any of
final
them.
reason of season of 30 Rock is great.
I could pull a slot machine wheel and land on any 30 Rock episode
same here.
and be happy.
maybe okay, break Les's heart too.
Yeah, I 30 Rock is one of those that I rewatched the whole season recently and did not regret it all.
Like when they talking about Arrow, I loved Arrow season 1. I mean, I really felt like I understood why they anchored a universe around that show. I really loved Arrow season 1, but Arrow's dour tone kind of became a diminishing return for me, and honestly, it's also what's wrong with the Marvel Netflix universe for me.
Sure.
Is the dour tone, but Marvel Netflix also kind of shies away from the comic bookness, where at least the Arrowverse, not so much Arrow, everybody else has to deal with powers. And I love that they bring that up in the Elseworlds we'll talk about next week,
yeah.
how Ollie and them don't have to deal with this bullshit much.
Right. Next year, by the way. Next year we'll talk about it.
Yes. But I mean, I get how people faded out. Those always kind of pull me back in.
Me too. I'll watch the crossovers till they're done. I will always watch the crossover episodes.
Paul Mampilli asks, have any of us watched the UK show Line of Duty?
No, but it's the third person that I've heard mention that to me in the last couple of weeks. Apparently that show's fucking rad. I haven't heard anything about it.
Resident Anglophile?
Oh, yeah.
Kyle?
I fucking love Line of Duty. In fact, I think my last, Anglophile episode, I went into a little bit of Line of Duty. But who's the guy from Walking Dead who was there in the first season?
Andrew Lincoln.
No, the black guy. Not Lenny Bruce.
Lenny James.
Lenny James. Okay. So he stars in the first season of this show as essentially kind of like your on the Luther a little bit, he's a police chief, high up.
Is
but
he corrupt though?
He's a little bit compromised.
That's Low Winter Sun you're thinking of.
Okay. Well, anyways, the line from the first season is, if you take a shot at the king, you better kill him, son. It is because it's like this internal affairs type thing, and no, it's badass.
That's
Omar's line from The Wire.
Yeah, right. That's an Omar line.
What?
The king you best not miss. That's Omar's line.
Yeah. Well, Paul
Did he put a son at the end of it though?
Paul says this is the equivalent of The Shield, but from the other side, where it's looking at those who take down corrupt cops. So I think that's basically Forrest Whitaker's character in The Shield, right?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, the only thing about that show is season 2 is still pretty strong. They introduced some new characters, but then Lenny James doesn't come back for the second season.
Ugh, he got roped into garbage Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So.
Stop giving me more shows to watch, Paul. I can't have time for the shows to watch now.
If you like Luther, if you liked Hard Sun, I'm imagining I didn't get through Hard Sun, but this is right in there.
No, Hard Sun was the other one.
Hard Sun.
Hard Sun.
That was the weird one where there's there's apocalypse coming.
Or Hard Target.
Or Hard Target.
With Jean-Claude. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. We're off topic here. Jonathan Hufnagel says, Dear TV Dudes, wouldn't it be fun if various Marvel cinematic heroes ended up as surprise walk-on guests in various TV show Christmas-themed episodes? Almost like one of those old live holiday specials. Open the door and, hey, Tony Stark's coming for dinner. The catch, they are fully in character. Sort of like those Thor as a roommate shorts. Who would you want to show up on a TV series? How might they interact with the TV characters? And what amusing hijinks do you imagine would occur?
I'm not doing it.
It's Always Sunny.
Done.
Who's going to be on it? Come on, Randy.
Stop not doing it.
Can't answer.
I'm not doing it.
I avoided saying Sons of Anarchy, and I applaud you for avoiding
I'm not doing
Always
it.
Sunny.
But I'm trying to think where, because Thor is the obvious guy, right? Like Thor and the Thor and Daryl Shorts are genius.
Yeah.
Thor
is a great fish out of water.
I also feel like Ant-Man, like Paul Rudd's Ant-Man showing up into some sitcom or something like that would be perfect. Because he
Fuller
feels
House.
Oh God, Fuller House.
See, I feel like
Michael
depends
Douglas
on your
animations.
explanation of MCU. MCU proper, no, but Magneto would be a great guest on the Iron Chef Christmas special.
Just shit, another pot stuck on my arm.
So who would you put on? What's the show the sappy show that you hate?
This Is Us.
This is Us. Who would you send to This Is Us? Like Cap seems like the obvious one.
Oh wait,
my
no,
God.
he would be on the Christmas special of American Gladiators. Chris Evans guest stars.
Put Tony Stark actually on This Is Us, just rolling his eyes at everyone.
Oh my God.
Wait, no, it has to be Tony and Pepper, and Pepper is like trying to be sympathetic to everyone, but Tony is like, nah, we haven't got time for this.
Tony and Pepper on Billions. Another couple that compete with those other two couples.
They're like billions? How about trillions? Step it up.
I'm just imagining the Punisher in somebody's house when Santa comes down the chimney and he just turns and shoots and kills Santa and then has to spend the rest of the night like covering it up and trying to get the presents out for with two little kids standing there and like Punisher, in the vein of the recent Christmas Chronicle Netflix movie, he then has to spend the rest of the night saving Christmas with Santa's magic toy bag, going house to house,
because he murdered Santa.
Murdered Santa.
Oh, I see. Peter Parker in AP Bio. He's in that class.
He's in one of the kids. That's good. By the way, that's a sideways Always Sunny thing, I feel like. So.
Right.
So
Partial credit.
Snuck it in there.
my last one, I want Doctor Strange to show up as a guest expert on Pawn Stars to like authenticate like a classic book, or like maybe somebody has like a Civil War coin and he uses the time stone to like turn it back to see if it's a fake or not.
See, I think the Sabrina Christmas special is coming, and Doctor Strange is an obvious fit there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reasonably certain Sarah Huckabee Sanders is a Herald of Galactus already.
Next question comes to us from Dennis McElwain, who says, "What was the best? Was that the best crossover week of CW superhero shows ever?"
Yes.
Along with that fantastic Legends episode that made a
Yes.
passing reference to the crossover.
Which I clearly need to watch.
Oh, you
Yes,
do,
it
man.
was-
Legends
it
of
was-
Tim Meow Meow is amazing.
This was a great cross. I haven't seen the third part yet, but the first two are fantastic, and they're teeing up Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is
really, really
crazy.
well, too.
Yeah.
Can I ask just one quick question about the crossovers?
Yeah.
Because I saw a recap. I didn't watch, but the guy from Arrow wearing the Flash suit.
Yeah.
Is that just weird because it's the dude from Arrow,
Yes,
or
it is
did they
weird.
not get the suit to fit him?
Both. They're
Yeah.
playing the joke up.
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
They are
okay.
They are playing the joke up. It is weird. He doesn't look great in the suit.
No, and there was on Twitter or Instagram, but Stephen Amell posted that I guess after they shot one of the episodes, he was getting ready to take a shower, and his wife was like, "Honey, you have something on you," and he had a tag or something from the suit that was just stuck to like just part of his skin, where she like peeled it loose. He was like, "Yeah, that's just part of me now." Like that he
You know
was
what I
like,
think
"How
it
the
is?
fuck does Grant Gustin wear this?"
I think. Is that the guy who plays Flash?
Yeah.
I think he has like a really skinny head, so when he puts on the Flash mask, it looks like a normal
It
shaped
looks like
head.
Stephen Amell's head looks
Yeah.
like a bobblehead in
Yeah,
that
it looks
leather
weird.
mask.
Yeah.
His head
Yeah.
looks so huge.
You know what's weird though? Grant Gustin looks pretty good in the Green Arrow costume.
Yeah,
It works
I
out
noticed
for it.
that too. Yeah.
He's just a good-looking dude.
You haven't got to see it
Killing
yet,
it.
but I hate the notched Superman collar in the comics.
Yeah.
but I kind of dig it on the show. They
Yeah.
put him in that costume for a second, and it's
Okay.
pretty rad. I can't wait till next week or next year.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan Hapter Michael says, "Hi, dudes. There have been complaints about how Netflix's exclusivity and lack of promotion for anything not the event series of the week is a bit detrimental for smaller series to find a large enough audience. Do you think Netflix putting out the first episodes for free on non-direct competitors like iTunes or YouTube could be a viable promotion plan for Netflix? Do you see do you have other ideas about Netflix having a release calendar section and useful recommendation section?"
First of all, there's no way they would ever put it on iTunes or YouTube.
I don't think they need to do that.
because first of all, they are competitors.
Yeah, they are.
Everything
competitors.
is a competitor for time. Everyone is competing for Netflix.
Yeah, they don't need to do that. I don't think getting people over to Netflix is the problem, and that's what like those avenues would draw people off of iTunes or off of YouTube. I mean, off of YouTube or whatever over to Netflix. Getting eyeballs onto the Netflix app is not the problem.
No.
Once you're there, it's looking for one drop in a
So
sea
much,
of
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I
yeah.
think why we wouldn't want that to happen is because if Netflix started making moves like that, they'd eventually make moves towards a discounted service or a free service that had ads included in some way.
Yeah.
And potentially move to a place where the minimum service does include ads and you're paying for it still.
I think they are
like
opening up
Hulu
a
does.
cheaper phone only, like mobile only Netflix tier.
The thing is,
they're discussing weird shit.
I feel like these complaints are they're looking at it as a bug, and I think it's a feature.
Yeah.
This is what Netflix wants. Netflix wants people to like turn on their app and be like, "What do I want to watch?" Spin the dial.
It's like IKEA,
Yeah.
where they have it specifically built as a maze. The UI is there to just kind of confuse you, and so you get a little lost in it until you go, "What was it I was looking for?" Oh, well,
They're going to get
maybe I'll
better
try this show.
at helping you stumble onto stuff
Yeah.
that because it is in their interest for me to be able to find these things they're spending money on. Like anytime there's a Business Week article about the amount of money that Netflix has just blown on all this content, and will they ever learn their lesson? Like they're learning their fucking
They
lesson.
learn less, yeah. And the thing is, if they want you to watch something, they'll promote it. But they're like, "Yeah, this is what we want you to watch this week."
I think
we
they'll
know
get
you're gonna watch
slicker
whatever
and
you watch.
creepier at advertising the right stuff to me. There have been occasions where I know something from Netflix is coming out this week because
Yeah.
I have heard about it because of our news thing or something,
Right.
and I turn on my Netflix and go, "What am I not watching that you are making me go actually search for whatever this is? Like,
I
what
hate
have I
that.
not told you, Netflix?"
Well, and I get emails every week. They're like, "Hey, here's a show you might like."
I do wish that I don't know if they do officially now or not, but for a long time Netflix was really shitty about letting you know what was going to vanish and what was going to appear.
Yeah, they never want to admit that. They never want to admit.
And there's a whole industry of like Vulture and like sites that just try to put that information out there, and I never know quite how accurate it's going to be.
Right. Well, like the whole Friends kerfuffle that happened, where they were like, Friends is going off Netflix. The word got out. They don't want people to know that because it gives them pressure on negotiating deals.
Yeah.
And they had to pay a shit ton more for Friends than they probably would have because they needed to get that word out. Oh, we're not losing Friends.
Like even their article this week about what's binge worthy or whatever. Yeah. Like this is all just Netflix numbers. Like they don't like to release their numbers at all, so you really don't know what worked and what didn't work. When I think about people complaining about selling on Amazon and how like Amazon can look at your sales numbers and then just monetize it a little closer and beat you. And I feel like Netflix is looking at your movie or your show's stats and figuring out what really works in a way that like you don't get to see as the creator, which has to be weird.
Right.
Man. Did you guys see what they did on Black Friday?
No.
Tons of stuff. All the Pixar movies were available on Netflix. All the Marvel MCU movies were available on Netflix.
Really? Just for like one day?
Yeah, for one day.
Fuck!
Man, the other one that was really great is YouTube ran an ad for the second Lego movie. And at the beginning of it, Chris Pratt goes, "Trust me, stay till the end of this ad. I'm not messing around." And when you get to the end of the ad, they just start the first Lego movie. And you can watch the Lego movie.
Free?
Yeah, on Black Friday.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So here's the one feature I would like them to add, and I'm surprised they haven't done it. I would like to be able to create a playlist.
Yeah.
Either a playlist of like Christmas episodes, and even if they didn't give me the ability,
Not
like
just my list.
yeah, I would let me pick episodes so I can do like here's my favorite action scenes, here's my favorite comedy episodes, here's my favorite Thanksgiving episodes. Like, let me make playlists and let us share them with each other. And there was a short-lived Netflix sharing feature. You guys remember that? Where you could share like what you were watching with the other people in your network?
When I used to watch on a PS3, you used to get a lot of weird test shit.
And they dropped all that, so clearly decided we don't want to be in the social network business. And I understand that you've seen from Facebook what a pain in the ass that could be.
But man, I would love to be able to make movie marathons and watch with friends.
Let me make a list, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I can't share them, let me make a list. I'll screenshot them or something, but let me make a list of Christmas episodes or Christmas movies or something
Randy,
like that.
do you like making lists?
I like making lists.
Love making lists.
I like making lists.
I'm gonna get you just like a list, it's gonna be a piece of paper. Basically, that's gonna be a thing for you.
Merry
It's gonna be these lines. It's a piece of paper.
It's a
Got an idea for a list making device.
Last question, guys. This comes from Daniel Uvaldo, who says, "Hey, dudes, after a long day in the cold, what would you rather have? Hot cocoa or coffee?"
Well, we're in Texas, so by cold, I assume it means below 50.
Yeah. He says he left out tea because we're in America, goddammit.
America.
Temperature, time of day, doesn't matter. Coffee. Always coffee. I have coffee right now.
I feel like if it's at the end of a cold day, you don't want the coffee that's going to hype you up before bed. You got to go hot cocoa.
Decaf coffee.
I am a hot cocoa person. I don't like coffee.
I'm dipping my toe in and getting more and more into coffee, but it's got to have a bunch of sugar, and it's got to be like a latte or something fancy.
Like the fox in Pulp Fiction. Plenty of cream, plenty of sugar. Or lots of cream, lots of sugar.
More than coffee.
Did I say the fox?
The fox is from the other side Counterpart universe. Fiction. Grant, but you like tea? Do you drink hot tea?
I will. Yeah. I like it in like a shared setting. I like being able to share like a pot of tea with people. Yeah. That's more fun.
You know what I've been drinking the crap out of? Because I had strep throat the week before last.
Cough syrup?
Hot toddies with, it's like a honey-flavored whiskey.
Yeah.
And hot toddy.
Damn, that sounds
so
great.
good.
You know, I was wondering what was in your two cups, like one inside the other foam cups. Your syrup.
No, this is just straight Everclear now.
Yeah, Grant, if you want to give me a Christmas list or a Christmas present, the best thing to do would be like if I just have a whole episode, maybe in 2 episodes, where it was all about me making lists. Can we do that like the next 2 weeks, maybe?
Hell yeah, we can. Stay tuned, folks, for next week's Best of List. TV Dudes out. The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.